Hello and welcome to this episode where we are talking about Rafael Nadal, who has just announced his retirement. I'm your host, Ria, and with me is the editor of Mykhel.com, Avinash. Avinash, first thing, we all know Rafael is like, there's no Grand Slam that he has not won. 22 Grand Slams. I mean, it's huge number. How will people take his retirement? Because there was no sign. We all came by a surprise of his retirement. What do you have to
Well,
say?
Ria, the timing could be called as a surprise, but it was a long time coming because we've seen Rafael Nadal dominate the courts,
Yes.
but injuries have plagued him. He's already 37, 38. So, in a competitive sport like tennis, where the wear and tear is, it's to the next level, and you're flag bearer of the sport for more than almost 2 decades
Yes.
means something. And we were expecting it. We've seen a few legends of the game bid goodbye. We've seen Serena Williams bid goodbye. We saw Novak Djokovic carrying, and he's also entering into the dusk of his career. Roger Federer retired a couple of years
Yes.
back. So, and if you talk about the big three or the big four of tennis, if you include Serena Williams
Yes.
into it, because she's been one of the greatest tennis players in the history of the game.
Absolutely.
So she also falls into the same category. But having said that, if you look at the way Rafael Nadal has been doing things off the court and the injuries, as I was just mentioning about them, they have kept him away from the court off
Yes.
late. We saw him into action during the Paris Olympics at the Roland Garros. Everybody was expecting him to end his career on a high with the second Paris Olympic or Olympic medal, which didn't happen. He even participated in the doubles as well, but that also didn't materialize the way all of his fans across the globe wanted him to. But I personally feel it's a sad, it's an emotional moment for
All
all
the
tennis
fans.
fans. But it was on the I think it was going to happen sooner rather than later.
Right, absolutely right. I think, this can be a very controversial question to ask you, but if you have to choose among the top three, and we know what
Yeah.
top three we are talking about, who top three we are talking about, of course, the Federer, Djokovic, and Nadal. Who is your favorite tennis player? Who has been your favorite?
Well, yeah, and that's what the emotional moment comes into play, because I have always admired Rafael Nadal more than anyone else. I mean, I've had debates with my friends. One of the biggest reasons for my adoration for Rafael Nadal was because the French Open was happening used to happen in the summer. I mean, during the summer breaks that we used to get in the May and June season.
Yes.
So you actually get to watch him play. When it comes to the Australian Open or the US Open, you just don't get a lot of time to watch it because of the time differences.
Of
The
course.
zones are entirely different. So I myself was exposed to a lot of Rafael Nadal via French Open. So
Right.
I've seen him do those duels, those battles on the clay court, and playing on clay court looks. I mean, you if you can sit and watch more than anything, any Grand Slam across the world, I think the most fascinating aspect of any Grand Slam are the courts.
Yes.
And the clay court would attract you more than anyone else because it gives you a rusty feel.
Yes.
The mud, the clay, which we would all talk about, it's there for everyone to see. You're playing in your whites, and the clothes get dirty. More in the red clay dust. And there you can see Rafael Nadal just weaving his magic across the court. He was just electrifying across his career. Even during the last stage of his career, you can see him toiling so hard.
Exactly.
And that's what made Rafael Nadal such a phenomenon.
Indeed, that's why he's called the king of clay.
Yeah, and 14 Grand Slams. Has anyone ever thought of winning at one particular venue?
Let me correct you. 14 French,
Open
Open,
Grand Slams,
and
exactly.
22 Grand Slams.
Yeah, so 14 Grand Slam at a particular venue is a no mean feat.
Definitely.
You cannot be as consistent as Rafael Nadal. He's played 18 finals, he's won 14 of them, which speak what character he was made up of, what mud or what soil he was made up of. And not, that didn't just stop him. He even won many tournaments, ATP tournaments, and other competitions which were played on clay courts across the Europe, or especially in the Spain and the Parisian courts and the surrounding Parisian courts.
Right. But we are forgetting about one very important tournament which we just saw like very recently, Paris Olympics and the Olympics.
Yeah.
Nadal even has singles and double Olympic gold medal in his name, which is something even Roger Federer could not achieve.
Yeah, actually. And see, Ria, the best thing is his medal, the singles medal, which came in the 2008 Beijing Olympics
Yes.
in China. And at the time of Beijing Olympics, he was just rising through the ranks. He
Of
was,
course.
yes, he was a household name, but yet he had to prove himself.
Of course.
And because there were the likes of Roger Federer's, Andre Agassi's, and the rest, and yet winning a medal in Beijing, and then sort of the rivalry between Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer, it just kept improving, and it just kept reaching to the another level. And then in the later part of his career, where we saw those intense battles on courts of different variety between Djokovic and Nadal, and the term Joker versus Noel, it became, it was most talked about, and wherever and whenever you saw Djokovic and Nadal on court, it was an enticing contest.
Of course, absolutely. But there was this very interesting tournament which lasted for good 40 minutes.
4 hours
actually, 4 hours and 40 minutes. My mistake. 4 hours and 40 minutes being on the court, playing with all energy. I mean, how much does it take for a sportsman like him to put in so much of effort, being consistent on the court, running here and there, not missing the shot? How much does it take for a sportsman to deliver that?
And that's why tennis becomes one of the most grueling sports. Exactly. It takes a lot of energy and effort. And when you are playing for more than 4 hours or almost to 5 hours, it means the wear and tear is massive. And yet there's a hunger to prove yourself. You're every time you're trying to look to outplay your opponent with the shots, the variety of shots that you have in your arsenal. And one of the best matches the game has ever seen is that 2008 Wimbledon final between Federer and Nadal. And it definitely goes as one of the greatest ever matches. And there's a documentary as well. And if our viewers would want to watch and relive that great match, it's available on YouTube, or Wimbledon's YouTube page as well. You can watch it there. And that's where the rivalry, the seeds of rivalry, I can say so, this was sown. Because back in 2008, they both were young bloods, almost identical age groups they were both. But Nadal had created this aura around him, because he's done tremendously well at the junior level as well. So when he progressed, when he graduated to the senior levels, the pro senior levels, he was already a force to reckon with. And from there on, because you've seen Federer do something magical on Wimbledon. He's won it more than 6 times.
Yes.
So that also makes the battle between these two greats so intense and interesting at the same time. But Nadal, if you just look at his career, take a seat and observe, he has always been a champion on the clay court.
Right.
But that didn't mean that he was restricted to the clay court alone. He's won Australian Open, he's won US Open, he's won the French Open and the Wimbledon. So he completed the career slam at a very early age of his career. And add to that the two Olympic medals, which even, as you just mentioned, even the great Roger Federer could not achieve.
One more interesting point that I would want to talk to you about, that Nadal is the only player who plays with a left hand.
Yeah, he's a southpaw, and that's something you just don't see on a regular basis
Of
in
course.
tennis. And if you just look at him play, it looks like a lion is on the hunt.
Yes.
He gives you those vibes, and that's why we've seen so many brands going after him, splurging millions and millions of dollars year after year, and that's why he was one of the greatest and one of the most sought after athletes in the world as well. And the hunger to excel at every instance and every match that he used to play made him what he is today.
Absolutely, absolutely correct, Avinash. One last thing to ask. David Cups is going to be the last wherein we
Yeah.
are going to see him play on the ground with that same intensity that he always comes with. November, in month of November, it's
Yeah.
hardly like a month, not even month, I would say, just like 10, 15 more days to go. So, as a Nadal fan, how emotional will it be for you?
Yeah, actually, and the best thing is he's done it. He's won 5 Davis Cup titles for Spain as well. So apart from his personal achievements, because tennis is a very individual sport,
Of course.
and you don't have to worry a lot about your nation, but winning 5 Davis Cup titles means that he always loved to play for his country as well, and the Olympic medals just add to that tally. So that tells how he loved representing Spain as well. And he's traveled to India. He's been the official ambassador to India of La Liga, the Spanish league, the football league that is in Spain. So when it comes to promoting Spain to Indian audiences, I mean, something like a brand like La Liga couldn't even think of someone better than Rafael Nadal. So that tells what sort of impact Rafael Nadal has had on the psyche of Indian audience as well. And coming back to the emotional moment, let's go back to 2 years back when Rafael Nadal was playing Davis Cup and Roger Federer was supposed to retire after playing Davis Cup. It was his last appearance for his country and professionally as well. There were tears in Rafael Nadal's eyes. There were tears in Roger Federer's eyes, and there were tears in everybody else who was sitting with these two living legends of the game. So definitely, it is going to be another emotional moment for all the fans who will be gathering up in that match between Spain and Malaga, and every eyes will be moist when Rafael Nadal will finally bid adieu.
That's so true. And, just talking about, that he leaving the game gives me a goosebumps. And because he has given tremendous, good matches. It's pleasure for our eyes as viewers, as spectators, to watch them play with so much of fierce and action and energy. I mean, all of us are gonna miss him a lot. And
yeah, definitely. Even I think not just fans, the sport is going to miss Rafael Nadal, the character of Rafael Nadal, the way he carried himself. He is a great athlete and an even better human being, and that's what sets athletes from legends. I mean, you can be a good athlete, but you can only be a legend if you do something equally better or even better than when you are on off the field. And Rafael Nadal has done more than what he was supposed to do as an athlete. So he's contributed, he's given back to the society, he's given back to the sport, and Spain is certainly going to miss him a lot. Good thing about for Spain is that after King of Clay, there's a Prince of Clay as well. Alcaraz is Carlos Alcaraz. He's just catching up. He's rising. He's going to be the next best big thing in tennis, and we've already seen glimpses of his brilliance at 2024 Paris in the French Open final against Novak Djokovic, where he defeated Djokovic once again, so to win 2 back-to-back French Open titles. So uh, Spanish tennis are definitely in good hands, but the legacy of Rafael Nadal is going to last forever. there's a void which I believe is
Will-
never going to be filled.
That's so true. The void will not be, it will not be filled. And of course, not everyone becomes the king of clay.
Yeah.
We will definitely miss Rafael, but our eyes will be on the Davis Cup, as it will, will be a very memorial and very sentimental event for all the tennis fan watching him for one more time and one last time on ground, and finally, bidding him adieu that.
He deserves.
He deserves, actually. Thank you so very much, Avinash, for talking to us. And you guys are watching One India. I'm Ria, signing off.
Don't miss out. Log on to oneindia.com for more updates.